Hello, everybody. Lewis, Norwich Central. I hope you're all doing very well. Quite an interesting last few days in the sphere of Norwich City. Hope you're all doing well. As I say, if you're watching on the catch up, I hope you're doing well. I'd love to hear your thoughts still down below. And if you want to watch this live, hit the notification bell and you'll get notified every time the upload is on. For everyone in the live comments, I hope you're doing well. Lots to talk through in this deadline day special. I'm joined once again by my co-host Duka. Duka, it's been an interesting last 72 hours or so in the Norwich City world.
It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. I'll tell you what, Lewis. I'll tell you what. That tastes of Europa League football next season. It really does. It just tastes of European football next season. It really
Are you sure it's not just coffee, mate?
It is just coffee, and I need it. But it's been a wonderful few days to be a Norwich fan. Obviously, I think what I said to my mate I think it was last night. I was at the pub, and I said to him last night, and I said, obviously, Webber spoke about not sending Farke to war with a gun last time in the Premier League, and he said he's given him a gun, given him a bazooka, but not quite a tank. After the past few days, he's not only given Daniel Farke a tank, he's given Daniel Farke nuclear warfare. That's the window we've had. Look, Farke's got the tools now. If he doesn't perform, if he doesn't keep us up, or if not better, I think this squad could really achieve something this season. But yeah, if Farke doesn't achieve the objectives in place now, that's on him. He can't play on the board anymore.
Yeah, I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, obviously, when we got to the Premier League, it was we kept a lot of the squad together. I mean, we could have sold a Max Aarons, Emi Buendia, Ben Godfrey at the time, but we decided to keep the squad together, and we didn't really have the money to invest in players this time around. Obviously, losing Emi Buendia is a massive blow, but we've not only just been able to reinvest that Emi Buendia money, we've been able to invest more money. And what have we spent? Over 60 million pounds easy. It's been an incredible window. And of course, 11 players signed, absolutely ridiculous. I think we should start by talking about the most recent signings. And we was talking about this transfer window as a whole. We've been really excited by the Norwich City business. But the one position all Norwich City fans wanted is a central defensive midfielder. Oliver Skipp, of course, is in the Tottenham first team now and doing great things for them. Tottenham are top of the league. And we needed that central defensive midfielder. We needed that Oliver Skipp signing. And Norman certainly fits the bill. What do you make of that one, mate?
I don't know if you've seen his Instagram photos, but he looks like an absolute tank, doesn't he? He looks like an absolute beast. I think he is. He's going to be a hard tackling central defensive midfielder. I think he's what he's crying out for. Someone to break up play. I've seen a few clips of his. He's also very gifted going forward in terms of his range of shooting. Is incredible. I've seen him score a free kick, which I'm all for that. So Matthias Normann really does excite me. Obviously, he was in England a few years ago with Brighton, didn't play once. But I think what he said in his interview when signing for the club that he went over to Russia, found himself. And now he's back here and he's ready to prove himself, and that just I just love it. I just love that. I love that attitude. Wanting to come back over here, prove yourself to the fans, prove yourself to the club, prove yourself to everyone who ever doubted you. He's ready for this, and I can't wait to see him play.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one. Of course, we were crying out for a central defensive midfielder, and you need to sign players who are going to fit the bill. And look, always with transfer windows. Even the last transfer window 2 years ago in the Premier League, you don't want to go into a transfer window being negative. Of course, signings like Amadou and Norwich didn't work out, but you were looking at those signings and you were trying to see the positives out of them. But with this one, Norman, okay, yes, maybe he hasn't had much experience in England, but what he did at Rostov was brilliant. Of course, a Norwegian central defensive midfielder. We know how well Norwegian central defensive midfielders do for Norwich City. Just ticks all the right boxes for me. And I completely agree. He's kind of a very similar player to Oliver Skipp in terms of kind of the same height. He's probably more physically strong. And he's also got that technical side as well. So it's a signing that really makes a lot of sense. And of course, it's a loan deal with the option to buy if Norwich City stay up for, I think, around £11 million. So, a really exciting one, mate, as you say.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm just buzzing to see him play. I cannot wait to see him absolutely boss the midfield at Arsenal as we win the relegation 6-pointer.
I think it's the first time ever that Tottenham have been top of the league and Arsenal have been bottom. And it's been really funny watching the parallels between Norwich and Arsenal, because of course we both lost to Man City 5-0 away.
On the cup.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we've both lost our opening games. We've both got a -9 goal difference. Norwich have scored the one goal, Arsenal haven't. And yeah, in the cup, we both won 6-0. So it's a bit bonkers, really. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Norman kind of boss Odegaard and Smith Rowe and have a really good game. And yeah, he's someone that really excites me because he's got that technical ability and also that physicality as well. It looks like Todd Cantwell as well might have someone he's kind of competing against in terms of a poser as well. Have you seen his Instagram post? He's definitely a poser.
Yeah, he's a bit of a poser, but I think he's more of that kind of absolute. He just looks like an absolute unit. I don't know. He poses like an absolute unit. Todd's just an Instagram model, you know what I mean? He's just a poser like that. But yeah, no, just Norman just does. I think he's what we're crying out for. And I think the past 3 games in the Premier League, we have lacked so much physicality in that midfield. You know, we've been so lightweight. The ball and play just flies for our midfield like there's no tomorrow. And we've been crying out for someone to be able to break it up, to be able to, stand their ground sort of thing, be that physical man. And I think Matthias Normann is going to be that man.
Yeah, definitely. And what I've noticed about some of the goals, forget the Man City game because it was very difficult, but what I noticed, I think it was Liverpool's second goal and Leicester's second goal, the one which won them the game. What I've noticed so far about Norwich this season, and yes, okay, we've been playing kind of the top teams in the league, but this could quite easily happen when we play against Watford and Brentford. When we lose the ball in transition, we're all over the place. It would take the Leicester second goal, we lose the ball, and our kind of midfielders are slightly all over the place. So having someone like Norman who's going to be physically demanding, someone who likes to tackle, and just having that central defensive midfielder and someone who knows his role, likes getting stuck in, I think is going to be so important, particularly with this 4-3-3 formation when we need, in transition to have the players back and the capabilities to break up counterattacks. That's what Oliver Skipp was so good in the Championship for.
100%. Yeah, fully agree. And then obviously I think, they're playing Lees, Malou and probably Gilmore in front of them. It gives Gilmore a bit more freedom to roam forward. Obviously, he's very much a box to box rather than a DM. So yeah, no, again, it works for all parties. It gives other players a freedom to roam into attacking areas like Lees, Malou, like Gilmore to see what they can do. Obviously, they're more attacking players, whereas Norman's more a defensive one. It gives us that sort of I don't know, the defensive stability that we've been missing this season.
Yeah, definitely. We missed the Pookie Party too, of course, scored against Leicester, and hopefully we'll see him get many more goals and, potentially see other players also step up and score goals as well. Let's go City. And on the point about Arsenal, I reckon we could get something against Arsenal. Fancy watching Julius tearing that defence apart. In this live stream, we will talk about which signing excites us the most. I think a lot of people are going to have lots of different opinions on their favourite Norwich City signing, which is just brilliant. I'll ask that to you now, Ducker, and guys in the comments, what is your favourite Norwich City signing? I've put you on the spot there, Ducker. 11 players to choose from. What is your favourite one?
I'm torn between 2, and it's probably not going to be the. I don't know. I'm torn between 11s if I'm perfectly honest, but.
Just say purely at Lees Malou and get it over and done with.
I don't because I don't know. I don't think I've seen enough of Pierre Lees Malou to know his quality, to know what he offers. I think the one that excites me the most is Josh Sargent. I really do think so. Wow. I think there is a potential in 2-3 years' time. I think there's going to be a top half Premier League quality striker in there. I really do. I think there is one in there right now. If I'm honest, I think he's got all the qualities. He's got
£8 million. Of course, that is a really big fee for a Norwich City striker. I think we've probably only spent more money for Ricky Van Wolfswinkel in that kind of striker centre forward area. What is it about Josh Sargent? Because he's young, he had an okay Bundesliga record. I really like the signing of Josh Sargent. I think he's going to come good. But what is it about Josh Sargent that excites you the most, mate?
It's in a sense that he's very similar to Pookie in the playing style that he has. He likes to get in behind, likes to make runs, and that excites me because that's a system we played, as a system we're used to. Not only that, Sargent's also taller, more physical. He's just a more all-rounded Pookie, really, if that makes sense. And obviously, I don't think Sargent maybe has the experience and sort of the, I guess, football IQ that Pookie has, but that will come. That will come with game time, and I think that Josh Sargent is the Pookie replacement. in years to come, definitely.
Yeah, I'd probably go along with that. For me, it's got to be Christos Ulis. Of course, he hasn't played in the Premier League yet, but we saw against Bournemouth what he can do, and £10 million for a 19-year-old. I just think in 2 or 3 years' time, he could go for really, really big money. And I like his pace, I like his directness. And he's one that's got so much potential, and I'm excited to see him, rip up Arsenal when he does get the opportunity to kind of have a go at the Premier League. Do you think this is the end of Zimmerman? I think it probably is in terms of the Premier League. I think he's still going to stay. I think he's still going to stick around, but I think his Premier League opportunities could be limited. And that kind of centre back area probably brings me on quite nicely to Norwich's 11th signing, the final one in the window, Ozan Kabak. And this is probably one that, if it's not Ulis, he probably excites me the most. Kabak, of course, 21 years old. Turkish central defensive midfielder. He's already made, I think, 17 appearances for his national team. Did very well in the Bundesliga. It said only 21 years old, made 50 appearances in the Bundesliga. And Liverpool, in their centre-back crisis, turned to Kabak, and he did a real good job for him. I just think this one is an absolute brilliant bit of business for Norwich City.
Oh, it's fantastic. And the fact is, obviously, he's young. So if we did put a big bid in, it'd be a really big punt, and I wouldn't be too sure about that. But I'm really liking how Webber has worked this deal. He's got a loan with an option to buy, and the fee. Realistically, right now, if we were to pay that fee, I wouldn't be too upset about it because it's not that much of a big fee. And if Kabak does have the season of his life, which I can see him having, I can see him being absolutely monumental for us. That fee becomes so small to what it realistically could have been if we maybe waited a season to sign a good centre half.
Yeah, and I know Schalke are in debt, aren't they? I think they are in a lot of debt, and they've been selling quite a few players. They obviously got relegated from the Bundesliga, and I think they was waiting for around a 15-20 million pound bid for him, but that didn't really come in. So they lowered their value, and this is a loan with an option to buy. If Norwich City do want to buy him, I think he's going to cost about 14 million euros, maybe around 11-12 million pounds. So he'd probably be Norwich's record signing. And what I like about some of these deals, in the case of Kabak and Norman as well, these are loan deals with the option to buy him. We've seen them quite a lot recently. Obviously, Dimitri Giannoulis and Ben Gibson were the loan to option to buy deals. I think they make so much sense from a financial viewpoint, because if you take Stephen Naismith, for instance, we paid the money up front, and that was a financial decision that cost us for years. This is one where if Norwich City do get relegated and the worst comes to worst, it doesn't affect us in a real financial way. So I'm a big fan of these loan to buy deals.
Yeah, 100% agree, Matt. I think it's a really shrewd way of working from Stuart Webber and the rest of the team behind the scenes at Norwich. And this is just the best transfer window we could have asked for. We've got everything we've asked for. And more. Like that's the thing. We've got everything we've asked for and more. We've improved in attacking areas. You got Christos Solis and Milo Rashica, who are probably now our two best wingers. I see them being both better than Todd Cantwell as wingers. Cantwell is more of an inverted winger /10. Josh Sargent is going to actually give Pukki some actual competition now, which he's been missing ever since he's signed for Norwich. The midfield as a whole has just been strengthened completely. And even the back line, you brought in Ben Gibson, Kabak, Giannoulis and Williams. It's a whole back line to itself. Obviously bringing in Angus Gunn as well as a backup goalkeeper. That's going to give Timm Krul, again, some actual competition, which he hasn't had in the Norwich shirt. So, we've not only just signed some really, really good players to just improve the squad. We've added depth in every single position. And just hats off to Webber. He can't be blamed. The board can't be blamed. Delia can't be blamed for this anymore because she's gone out. She's given the club money. We've got money now. We've spent it. It's up to the players on the field and Farke and his coaching team. And if they don't deliver, then that's where the fingers have got a point.
Yeah, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with that. I think there's always been a lot of criticism with Delia and the money, and of course Norwich City can't spend as much money as other clubs. That's inevitable. But also look at it as Norwich City can spend more than other clubs and some owners as well. But with Delia, we've invested so much money. I think over £60 million. And if you look at Liverpool, if you look at some of the big clubs, Liverpool haven't invested hardly any money into their team this season. We have invested so much money. I think at one point we was the top 10 in Europe. I don't know if that's still the case.
I don't know if that's that anymore, yeah. I don't think that's the anymore, but yeah.
Well, we can't be far off, mate. I mean, we've invested...
We're not top 15.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's absolutely outstanding. And Webber has backed Farke. You can't have any real moan at Delia or anything like that. She's not pocketed the money or anything like that. It's really down to Farke and the players. Adam Kabak is such a great bit of business. Got to give it to Webber this season. He's pulled up all the stops. I completely agree. As I said, with Kabak, 21 years old, but so much room with a lot of these players as well. But we've signed players who are, some of them starting to come into their peak years, kind of 25, 26, but quite a few of them are young, who've got so much potential to grow, not just on the pitch, but in terms of their transfer value off the pitch as well, which is obviously a shrewd way of working. And I really like Kabak, as we said, good on the ball, good one-to-one defending, so many great attributes. Of course, played for Liverpool in the second half of the season, and Liverpool fans liked him. So yeah, a really, really good one. Best signing, Norman. Yep, I mean, we've been crying out for a central defensive midfielder, and I'm sure he's going to give us what we want. Yeah, Ducker, I mean, absolutely brilliant bits of business. We're going to go with Ashburton, their European tour next season, lads. Is he drinking the same coffee as you, Ducker?
He is indeed. I've already booked my flights to Azerbaijan in August for the Europa League round of like 32 qualifying and whatever. So I've already booked the
qualifying first round, yeah. But yeah,
Bulgaria, I'm out there.
Yeah, so much excitement around these signings. And look, Norwich City is still going to be, I think it's inevitable that Norwich City are going to be have some difficult moments this season. But Webber's really, as we said, Ducker, given these players and given the club the best possible chance of surviving. In terms of the future of Norwich City, if Webber has a bad season, this is kind of speculation, but if it doesn't work out for Norwich and we get relegated, or if it works out and Norwich do stay, what does it mean for Stuart Webber, and what does it mean in that sense? Because there's still a little bit of uncertainty about what it kind of all means.
It just really does depend how we do the season, what will happen with Stuart Webber and what will happen with, obviously, Farke signed a new contract. Webber, there's a lot of uncertainty about that, whether he'll leave at the end of the season, whether he thinks the job is done, depending on what happens. It really does depend.
It depends if that offer comes in for him as well.
Exactly. I think it really does depend where we finish. If we're relegated, I think it's really touch or go whether he'll stay or not. If we finish mid-table, I think he'll go.
Really?
If we in a Europa League or a European spot, or somehow win a trophy and gain European football from that, I think he'll stay. Because, the money that will come in from, just playing in Europe and winning competitions such as, if we win a Carabao Cup to get to Europe or something, or win an FA Cup, it isn't out the question. It should never be out the question. So, if something like that does happen, obviously, I think Stuart Webber will stay, because then it gives us more money to play with the following season, and better players to sign, and then this project becomes a whole new project in itself. Actually trying to build a club into a side that can compete in Europe. I mean, it's a long shot, but obviously that is an option. But yeah, it is really uncertain. I think if we stay up, 15th place, that sort of area, I can't see Webber staying past his contract. I really can't. I think he'll kind of think, right, that's job done. I've kept him in the Premier League. I'm going to go on to new and better things, which is understandable. We can't be annoyed at Webber, because what he's done for us, he's brought us out of so much debt. He's brought us in some players who will really, really excite us, and it's just about finding the next Stuart Webber to carry on the journey for us.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, isn't it? And they've always spoke about this 5-year plan, and it's always quite funny when Norwich City do bad. Kind of that's the thing. Is this part of the 5-year plan? But in terms of what Webber's done off the pitch, okay, yes, he's got occasionally some things wrong, as pretty much anyone in football does. But what he's done off the pitch in terms of rebuilding the club from the roots is absolutely incredible. And who would have thought Norwich City would be spending kind of 60 million pounds, or however much it is in a transfer window? It's absolutely ridiculous. And hats off to Stuart Webber. He's really given the club the best opportunity to survive. what I want to do here then is I want to get all our signings up on screen here. So these are some of the signings we've made. The first two, of course, in Giannoulis and Gibson are the ones who we signed on pre-contracts, although the money kind of doesn't, it is really subjective in terms of where that kind of money comes from. But of course, if Norwich City weren't promoted to the Premier League, we wouldn't have signed them. So they essentially do count as Premier League signings. And then we've got our 4 loan deals in Billy Gilmore, who an amazing bit of business, someone who's young and so much potential to grow. Brandon Williams, Kabak, and Norman all on loan. I've put Kabak on loan twice. Apologies about that. But
one thing that we've got to remember with these loan signings, Billy Gilmore played multiple games with Chelsea. One, as part of that Champions League winning squad. He's got a Champions League winners medal. He's quality. He's top 10 Premier League midfielder quality, as in a top 10 team in the Premier League midfielder quality. He's that good. And then, with Brandon Williams, he was a few seasons back, or even last season, he was a starter at Man United. He was one of their first names in the team sheets in some games. He's a fantastic fullback. Kabak, obviously, we spoke about at Liverpool. He kind of come in, from nowhere, and improved their defence and kind of brought them to that third place finish that they needed last season to get them Champions League football. And even Norman, obviously, he's gone out to Russia and he's found himself, and now he seems to be this tough tackling midfielder. I saw a photo of him in a Brighton kit. He looked really skinny, a stick sort of thing, and now he's built. It's like a Leon Goretzka transformation sort of thing. Even these loan signings just really excite me.
Yeah, and of course the Billy Gilmore one, of course, is a loan deal, and Brandon Williams is a loan deal, and they're not going to come back to the club. It's just going to be a 1-year loan deal. But with Kabak and Norman, obviously the option to buy if Norwich City stay up, we're talking about 8-figure transfer fees. That's really exciting. And then we've got the 5 other signings. Angus Gunn, of course, backup goalkeeper, but those kind of ones so exciting. You got Ulis, 19 years old, kind of tipped to be one of Europe's next big stars. So hats off to Webber. Josh Sargent, of course, a lot of potential. Rashita, who 25 years old, ripped it up in the Bundesliga and has, we've already seen in the Premier League. If you had to kind of put a best player so far, and it's difficult to do so, but you'd probably say he's the one who's really shown real good glimpses of quality. And then Pierre-Lise Malou as well. So that is an incredible transfer window. And look, it's important to say not all these signings are going to work out. Brandon Williams might get replaced by Dimitri Giannoulis, and that's kind of a 2 million loan deal, kind of, which was kind of pointless. But all these signings, as you say, are going to improve the squad. And it's just hats off to Stuart Webber.
100%. He's given us the ammunition now. We just got to do our job on the pitch now and actually stay up. That is it.
That's it. I mean, and if you look at the team as well, you can kind of make a whole starting 11.
You can make a whole starting 11 from this. It's brilliant. I mean, that's what we've done. We've added a whole new starting 11, and it's brilliant. Yeah,
as we say as well, some of those are loan deals. So, look, if the worst comes to worst and Norwich City do get relegated, we're not going to have the financial debt of some of them. And if you look at some of the in terms of age profiles as well, you've got 19-year-old, 21-year-old, some real young players in there, as well as players who are coming into their prime. So it's just a really good mix of young talent, and also players who have shown on stages that they can do it. Maybe have lost their way a little bit, but have shown on stages that they can do it at the top level, which yet again kind of fits the profile of Stuart Webber signings, mate.
100%. And exactly. Players with points to prove is exactly what Stuart Webber and Norwich City are all about. Team Pookie came to Norwich with a point to prove. There's
so many.
All our signings that Webber has brought in have come to Norwich with a point to prove. Why they're good enough to play at this level, and why they're good enough to play for the club. They've all come in with a point to prove, and the majority of them proved it. And hopefully, the majority of these signings can also prove it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, just so much brilliant bits of business. So, guys, let us know your thoughts on these 11 players and which one is probably the best signing. Adam, I agree, Ducker. Can't see Webber staying, but we can't hold that against him considering what he's done for us completely. I mean, Stuart Webber's had opportunities to leave Norwich City, but and apparently he's had opportunities from relatively big European clubs as well. But what he's done, he said no because he's a man of integrity and respect and will hold out his contract. I think.
Hang on, Lewis, you've just said something here that just kind of baffled me. You say Stuart Webber's a man of integrity. I swear Norwich City are against sporting integrity. I just swear. Like, what?
No, I agree. I think it's disgusting that the way they run. I don't understand why they don't spend £100 million and go at it. I think it's ridiculous, particularly when you look at how well Sheffield United did and how well that's worked out for them long term. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, I think Norwich City really should, take their time and feel good.
Absolutely.
Layla, Adam, we spent 50 million. Does Farke have any excuses, Ducker?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't now. He simply doesn't. He's been given the tools. He's got to build a house now. He's got to.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all there is.
Definitely. Well, I prefer this metaphor, to be fair.
That absolutely.
We have great ingredients. Just need Farke to bake the perfect cake. I like that one.
What would you reckon Farke's favourite cake is?
Wow, he's going to be. I think he's going to have an outside choice, isn't he, of a favourite cake, because he's a man who I think goes against the grain. That's all I'm going to say on it.
I think he's going to be very. I don't know. I feel like he's just a very. If he's going out for a nice coffee and cake, with a friend of his. I reckon he's a carrot cake man.
Really?
I really do think he's a carrot cake man.
Well, I think these are the questions we need to put to Daniel Farke post match. I think it's just really important to find out. But yeah, I haven't got a clue, mate. To be fair, it's a really good point. We have got all the ingredients, and what's been really interesting about some of these signings as well, and some of the things he's done is that he's, as you say, he's really given Farke the ammunition now to just go for it, and that's something which is really exciting. And with the signings as well, I mean, what Farke has had is Farke was always kind of criticised for having kind of no plan B, and I don't like the term having a plan B, but he had players who are limited in what they could do on the Premier League. Now we've got so many players and so much choice. If there's a particular opponent where Norwich City might need a more physical presence, or if they need a more dynamic midfield, or someone who can stretch the lines and stretch the play, it feels like Farke's got lots of different players for different games. And that is why I think Farke has limited excuses now as a manager, because look, Premier League is at a difficult level, but he's got lots of players who can do lots of different things. And those options are going to be critical for Norwich City's survival.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, no, fully agree.
Yep. No way we can go down now, surely. I mean, it's going to be difficult still, but I'm a lot more optimistic from what I've seen from these signings. Maybe we should have signed Lookman on loan. What do you think of that?
Do we need to? I mean, he got relegated last year with Fulham. We've got Milo Rashica. We've got Christos Solis. I don't know.
Where is Lookman at the moment? Do you know?
I think he's signed on loan. Who signed him on loan? Someone in the Premier League signed him on loan today, or signed him, but it might have been permanently. I can't remember. On Twitter, hang on. We'll have a little gander. I know he signed for someone, but
I think it's Leicester.
Oh, just to let you know, Aston Oxborough has completed a season-long loan move to Barnet.
Really good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's certainly a man in a few years' time who could, if the loan moves go well, he could be kind of in and around that Norwich City setup. Lees Malou, by far the best signing for his price. Yeah, I really like him. 28 years old, so he's probably one of the more expensive options. One of the more older options. Definitely not expensive. He's one of the more older options at 28 years old, but he's done it consistently in the French league for a number of years in a very good team. And guys who've watched the first few streams of the NCC show will know about Duca's love for Pierre Lees Malou and all things about him.
Love Lees Malou. Honestly, he's going to score against Arsenal.
Battenberg, it's a shout.
Now, I think Chris Domagella would have a Battenberg. I think he would.
He stinks of a Battenberg.
He does. Oh, God.
Yeah, I can see him, but he's also going to be a man of health as well, and really having a healthy diet. I can see him having a real mix of kind of different foods, but he's certainly a man who knows what he wants in Chris Domagella.
Exactly. Yeah, he'll have a Battenberg. Absolutely. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This is a really interesting point. I think we're intending to play three at the back. This is a really tough one to know because we've seen Farke for a number of years play a 4-2-3-1, and he's kind of stuck with that. And you've had your two kind of midfielders who work hard, and then you have your three attacking players. We've seen in the first few games a very interesting change from Farke. We've seen him switch to a 4-3-3 and have a kind of an extra body in the middle. We've seen Daniel Farke switch occasionally in games to a back three in the Championship. Could we be doing a back three in the Premier League? Tough one to know.
No, we
I think so.
No, we can't play a back three in the
Not a 3-4-3? Would that not work?
Absolutely no, because the thing is, I think I don't. The issue with Norwich has been in the Premier League last time wasn't obviously we conceded loads of goals. The defence wasn't great, but where was the midfield during every single game we got smashed in? There was no midfield. We had two defensive midfielders who, at the time, weren't Premier League quality, and it cost us massively because we weren't able to win midfield battles, which led to us conceding multiple goals. I think we have a strong enough back four of Premier League quality. Giannoulis or Williams at left back. You've got Kabak now. You've got Gibson or Hanley at centre back, and you've got Max Aaron's right back. That's a Premier League quality defensive line. The midfield now, I think if we keep with a 4-3-3, you've got Norman sitting as that CDM, and then Gilmore and Lees-Malou either side of him. I think we'll be fine. We've got the bodies in the midfield, and I think that's going to defensively assure us. If we go to a three at the back, we're going to look the two wing backs. They're going to get so exposed, and we can't afford that. We can't afford that.
I think a back three works for a lot of teams, but I think in the way Norwich City play and how we like to operate, I think a back four works. And I've seen a lot of people say that Daniel Farke wants to play a back three, but I've never really been convinced that he has, because I think he's always had. I think if Farke wants to do something, he's going to do it. He's very kind of set in his ways. So, yeah, I honestly think that there could be potential in games to change to a back three, and change formations and change personnel. But I don't see it going from the start. And I think he will stick with that. Do you think he'll stick with that 4-3-3 that he's been playing this season?
I think so. If not, he'll switch it up only to a 4-2-3-1. But like you say, during the game, if we are chasing a game and we do need to expose teams, especially down the flanks, absolutely change it to a three at the back.
Yeah. Really hope he doesn't play a three at the back. Alex, think we won't have a set formation. He's now got the options, change it game by game. It's an interesting perspective that, and as we've said, there's so many different options, so many players with different capabilities. It'll be difficult. I've still got a feeling, though, Daniel Farke is going to stick with the same team for a lot of games. What we've seen from Daniel Farke over the years is he likes to stick with the same team. He likes consistency. It's what worked in the Championship. So although he's got the options to change game by game, I think Daniel Farke is going to be he's going to want to stick with the same team and maybe make different subs depending on the type of game. But could you see Daniel Farke being quite stubborn with his team selections?
Yeah, I think he has been stubborn already this season. I think Sargent should have started from the off against Leicester. I mean, I get Pookie scored. I get he scored. But I think Sargent, again, would have just offered more. The way how he led the line against Bournemouth, we've been crying out for that this season. And it's crazy how he didn't start. And I think there's a bit too much sentiment for players who have been at the club since Farke's taken over, such as Cantwell, obviously, or a season after Farke took over, so like the likes of Pookie, obviously, where you kind of feel like you have to play them just because they've been so loyal to the club. But the realistic factor is we can't show loyalty to I guess the old guard of Farke's Norwich City era.
And I don't think we've done that because we've released the likes of Stuart and Norman. I get
in that sense, but there was, I think, against Leicester, Cantwell looked quite leggy towards the end of the game, and I can't remember who we took off, but I think I can't remember, but I think that I can remember because I watched back the vlog when I was editing it, and someone said, "Oh, why aren't we taking Cantwell off? He looks tired. We need to bring someone else on." So, I think there is a bit of that, but I may be completely wrong. Maybe just clutching at the straws at something completely irrelevant here.
Yeah. If we survive this season, we can sign players for 20 million plus, like Leeds have done. Potentially. I mean, I think what I've liked about Norwich City is that we haven't just gone out and spent 30 million on a player. It's been progressive. We haven't gone out and spent, a player on 100k wages. It's always been progressive, and it's always been like one player is not more important than the other. And I've liked that in a lot of Norwich City signings.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. Like you say with Christos Zolis, if you pick up a 19-year-old winger for 9.5 million, you kind of got to trust what the board are doing. And if we do stay up and we do sign a 20 million plus player, he's going to be probably a Ballon d'Or winner in about 2 years' time with our recruitment system. So yeah.
Yeah. Freddie, thanks for joining the live stream, mate. We've got two legit bouncers. I think Giannoulis's defensive liabilities have been covered, so we get more use of his offensive abilities. What do you make of that, Ducker?
Interesting. No, I don't think it's the fact that I do agree with it. No, because obviously with Brandon Williams, obviously I think he's more of a, from what is said, what we've seen he's more of a shithouse, more of a tackler. Although against Leicester he was at fault for that first and probably the second goal, but obviously we know that probably Williams is more of a defensive sort of left back, whereas Giannoulis does like to get forward, and we have seen against Man City that he doesn't really offer too much defensively against the bigger teams.
It's a tough one, though, because I think with a lot of these signings, I think maybe one player which has been slightly contentious is the Brandon Williams one, because I think a lot of people expected Dimitri Giannoulis to be the left back. Norwich City spent $6.5 million on him, and I think it was a little bit of a surprise to see Brandon Williams come straight away into the team against Leicester.
I think because Brandon Williams played fantastically against Bournemouth, he looked really, really good. And I think the fact is, I think Giannoulis needed that break. Again, if a player performs badly, putting someone else next week, they've got to learn that, performances like that just aren't acceptable at this level. We can't be showing. I don't know really what the word is. We can't. We've got to have a bit more grit about us. If a player doesn't perform well, start someone else over the game. Yeah, that's the word. Ruthlessness. That's what we need. A bit of ruthlessness.
I think Norwich City have shown that in terms of letting players go. Mario Rancic, incredible things he's done for Norwich City. Alex Tettey, incredible things. Stiepermann, Leitner, Tribe have all had days for Norwich when they've been absolutely exceptional. But I think if Norwich City want to survive in the Premier League, the toughest league, in the world, then you do need that ruthlessness, as you say.
100%.
Let's go to. That sums it up. Only fear stops you winning the gold. I think with a lot of these new signings, it's going to take a while to find the perfect team for Farke to play with, and I really hope that doesn't backfire on us. We need a team who are comfortable. That's going to be the big thing for Daniel Farke now. He's got a lot of players to choose from, a lot of different ways of playing as well, because we've seen Norwich City have these kind of, over the years, yet again, these set style of playing. But I think what we've seen with Norwich City this season and with this transfer window and with what we've seen on the pitch is that Norwich City could play differently. They could play with a more counter-attacking impetus. I really think that there is room for this Norwich City season to be a little bit bonkers and something we haven't expected before. And it's going to be up to Daniel Farke to find that perfect balance.
Now, that's where I agree with you. I fully agree with everything you just said there, because I really do think that this season we're not. Farke's not going to have one way of playing, and we're going to be playing that way for the whole season. I think, like you said earlier in the podcast, that there is going to be teams where we're going to set up differently and counteract how they play. For example, we'll come up a team who have a high line, and we might play over the top three balls to wingers who are going to be quick. Zolis, Rashica. There might be a team that play five at the back that can be very, very difficult to cut open. So we need someone who's very technical, very intricate on the ball. Kieran Dow, Todd Cantwell. And we've got so many options to play different sort of teams. We've got that squad depth to have different options, different ways of playing, that I don't think there's going to be one way that will play. And I think it's more or less how Farke's not getting the players to suit his system. He's suiting his system to suit the players, if that makes sense. And it's
potentially. Do you not think Daniel Farke could still be quite set and want that consistency in terms of his team selection? Because we've already seen that in the first 3 games this season.
In a way, yeah. I think he'll still keep sort of the main basis of his philosophy, but in terms of actually cutting teams open and scoring goals, you're going to look how their defence acts. You know, if they've got a high line, we are going to be wanting to play balls in behind. It's about having the players who can exploit that. So, like I say, Zolis and Rashica, who are quick wingers and can get in behind. And then, obviously, if we play a team that are going to sit back, it's maybe a case of them playing players who are going to be a bit more technical, be able to thread passes through, or make clever runs in behind, where a Pukki will start, where a Cantwell will start to thread those passes into Pukki or a Kieran Dow. And I think it's more or less kind of how the opposition will set up. We're going to be starting the players to suit our way of exploiting them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I completely agree. And it's going to be about those choices that's going to define Daniel Farke's and Norwich's Premier League season. Of course, it's been a brilliant deadline day with Norwich City having all their signings done. Norwich City kind of don't have to worry about any more signings coming in or any players of note leaving. But one player who has left Norwich City, of course, is Timm Klose. And I just want to play this 15 or 20-second audio clip video, because this moment is what I think Timm Klose is going to be remembered for.
Maddison from halfway hits one long and deep towards the Ipswich penalty area. Closer gets his head to it. It runs into the box. Hanley's going to chase it, and Hanley's going to keep it in here. Right hand side, plays the ball across. Grant Hanley, chance for Klose!
Timm Klose, of course, has left Norwich City, signed in January 2016. 5 years at the club. The last couple of years, I think Timm Klose was struggling with injuries and, of course, had loan deals here and there. But he's going to be remembered for creating some special moments. And what a fantastic character Timm Klose was.
Oh, he was excellent, wasn't he? I absolutely love I love Timm Klose. And I think that goal against Ipswich, you know, that's it. That's in
I think that's the better commentary, of course.
There
From
we go. That's
BBC Suffolk,
BBC Suffolk,
the famous commentary.
That still lives rent free in my head. That does, and I think he's wrote himself in Norwich City folklore. You know, he'll always be remembered as a legend of the club. Obviously, the past few seasons for him haven't been the greatest. He's been absolutely, hit with injuries where he's just been shut, kicked out the side more or less. So, but obviously he's been a great servant. You know, the few years he was here, he's brought us so many good moments for fans. It was a fan's favourite. He always wore his heart on his sleeve, sort of thing, and just an excellent character, like you say as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Evening, hope you're doing well. Evening again, quite a few people coming in. I hope you're all doing really well. He's big, he's Swifts, he lives in Dis. A real fan's favourite and someone who's really loved a lot. I mean, he comes in January 2016 for £8 million. And I remember those first few months in the Premier League. He was absolutely exceptional for Norwich City, Timm Klose. He really improved the defence a great deal. And then, of course, I've got that injury in April against Crystal Palace, I think. And that's kind of where it went wrong for Norwich City defensively. But, was really good for Norwich. Of course, then Daniel Farke started to use him frequently as well in his first couple of years. And of course, the main memory from Timm Klose was against Ipswich in, 2018, I think it was, 17,
2018. I think it was 2018, because that was the season when that's the first match day experience I did in Norwich City Central.
There he goes. He knows. Yeah, it would have been it was Farke's first season, wasn't it? That was it. And absolutely magical moment. Just an absolutely amazing character and someone who really kind of loved Norwich, and that's what you want from signings, who really embrace the culture, embrace the fans, and someone who's done a lot for the community around Norwich City as well in terms of charity work. So I think he's going to be missed greatly. Of course, it's the right time for him to go. Injury problems, and of course, he's never going to threaten the Norwich City team, whatever. But final thoughts on Timm Klose, Digger.
What a bloke! What a bloke! He had a massive nose. He was a great guy. He was actually a really great guy. I've met Timm Klose a few times. He's just the loveliest guy you could meet. And a great player as well, great servant to the club, and a great character.
Yeah, excellent. I think that's a really nice way to put it. And that's kind of it for Norwich City in terms of their deadline day noobs. It's been very quiet from a Norwich City perspective, and it's brilliant that Norwich City have just been able to get their business done. And as we were talking earlier in the stream, Dicker, I think when we was looking at the transfer window, despite all the quality that we've signed, we were still kind of thinking it was a 6 or a 7 out of 10 window, because Norwich City hadn't replaced Oliver Skipp. They hadn't had that central defensive midfielder. We haven't improved the centre back area. And to Stuart Webber get those deals over the line in the last kind of 72 hours, 48 hours of the transfer window, that could be absolutely pivotal in Norwich City's Premier League status, and also the legacy of Stuart Webber and Daniel Farke, and trying to get Norwich City as an established Premier League side. These signings could be absolutely critical come the end of the season.
Oh, 100%. I think, if we do survive this season, which I could see it happening, I'm 99% certain we'll stay up this season. If someone clips this and it comes back to bite me in the arse come the end of the season, let it be. At least I was confident, optimistic and positive. If it happened, if we stay up, the business that Stuart Webber has done, the ability that Farke has had to keep this team up as well, they'll be going down in Norwich City folklore, and it's a fantastic window. Like you say, we both rated it quite, 6 out of 10, sort of an average window before the signings of Normann and Kabak. Just shows maybe they won't be our most exciting signings in the sense of attacking flair and the contribution of goals that they'll bring to the club, or the fees that they're signing for until obviously the end of the season when we do stay up and we do sign them permanently. But obviously they're on loans at the minute. But there probably could be proven to be our 2 most important signings this window. And
it's really sensible as well, the kind of loan to buy deal as well. It's what we did with Janulis and Gibson, because obviously spending that amount of money if we was going to be in the Championship again is a lot. But it just makes so much sense from a financial position and a sensible way to make these deals, the loan to buy. They just excite me so much. And look, there's no guarantee it's not going to work. I've spoken about it being Norwich City's best transfer window ever, and I got a comment coming back saying it's only going to be Norwich City's best transfer window ever if we actually stay up, and that's a very valid point. These signings might not work. Daniel Farke might not utilise them in the correct way, and there's 11 players there, so all of them, there's a chance that a couple of them won't work. But for me, it shows ambition. It shows a real kind of shrewd way of thinking, and it shows that Norwich City are in a financial position now because of the incredible work from Stuart Webber over 5 years, that Norwich City can now have a really good go at staying in the Premier League and do it in a way that is ambitious but also financially viable as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, this is going to be the biggest Norwich City season as fans that we've seen for a very, very long time. It's going to be so important for the club because obviously if we go down,
it's massive. It's absolutely
we're losing a lot of these players.
Yeah, I feel like we say kind of this thing every few seasons here and there, but for me, this is Norwich City's biggest season in probably well over a decade. It's absolutely massive in terms of trying to build on what Stuart Webber's done and become an established Premier League team. And the only way you're going to do that is by, surviving in the Premier League and really giving it a good go in a financially viable way.
Yeah, which was done. And it's now about, just Farke utilising these players, making sure they work, finding the right system that works with everyone and win games, get points, stay up, go to Europe, win the Europa League, come back a season later, win the Champions League, We're going to win it all. We're going to win the World Cup, mate.
Love that.
The Club World Cup, of course.
And of course, Ozan Kabak will be leading us out in Azerbaijan, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, Kabak, huge signing. Norman will just flex his pecs and scale away strikers. We spoke about it earlier in the stream. I think Todd Cantwell's going to have some competition in terms of that kind of type of kind of content on Instagram, isn't he? He looks like a very chiseled and he looks after himself, doesn't he?
Certainly does. He just looks like an absolute beast, doesn't he? There's an absolute beast. I just cannot wait to see him absolutely half Odegaard against Arsenal. He's going to absolutely wipe the floor with him and Smith Rowe. They're going to end up in Rose Z from a tackle from Matthias Normann.
He does look like a very scary fellow, and at such a young age as well, he kind of puts us to shame as well, doesn't he? But a very someone who's going to really be pivotal to Norwich. We've been crying out for that central defensive midfielder, someone who's going to, come in and solidify us, and he's going to be huge. Duka, is it optimism or realism?
Look, you've got there's no point being pessimistic about Norwich, because that's usually being realistic. But right now, we've spent the most money in the transfer window that any Norwich fan has ever seen in their lifetime. We've signed some really, really exciting players. We've got a great manager. We've got a great recruitment system. We've got a great club as a whole right now. And a great opportunity to kind of build on that as well this season, by staying up, maybe even going for cup competitions as well, because we've got the quality, we've got the depth to do so now. I may be optimistic, but why not? Why not be optimistic? Why not be positive? Because anything can happen in the Premier League. We've seen it before, and we've seen it with Sheffield United. We've seen it with Wolves, how they've got. Well, obviously Sheffield United almost got European football. Wolves did. Wolves got European football. There's no stopping us. I know European football is an absolute that is taken as a joke. Obviously, I don't think we'll get European football. I still think we'll finish 15th. But all I'm saying is, teams have come up from the Championship and done that sort of thing before, and absolutely shocked the Premier League and done really, really well. I think we'll do the same. Obviously, everyone writes us off because we're a yo-yo club. But also this time round, we've spent a lot of money. We've brought in some really good players. Like I said, we've got a really good manager, really good sporting director, really good, back room of staff at Norwich City Football Club. Be optimistic, be positive, be hopeful, because this is going to be the biggest season watching Norwich City in my lifetime. So be positive about it. There was a comment earlier. Was it fear stops you winning gold or whatever? Let's not have fear. Let's play with no fear. Let's be positive. Let's be optimistic. We've got nothing to lose this season. Well, also everything to lose. But in terms of the neutrals, they're all writing us off. So let's go put some shocks on some faces. Why not?
Duka, that's got my hairs going. That's can you write some poetry or something like that? That was absolutely excellent, Duka.
Appreciate that, mate. Just came from the heart. That's all. Just came from the heart.
Definitely. Yeah, I really like that. Slightly off the topic of Norwich. Of course, it's been a crazy transfer window. Jack Grealish, so many incredible signings and swaps, and Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the world's best footballers, the second best footballer in world football. Of course, coming to the Premier League, we're going to potentially be seeing Cristiano Ronaldo at Carrow Road. What do we think of CR7 coming back? Cristiano Ronaldo versus Grant Hanley, Duka?
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo is getting absolutely bodied, isn't he? By Grant Hanley. No, it's gonna. Do you know what? It's gonna be. I've never seen Messi or Ronaldo play live, so for me, if we are 3-0 down at the time, Ronaldo has scored a hat trick, I might just stand there and genuinely just take it in that we're watching Cristiano Ronaldo play. But what do I think of Ronaldo coming back? I just hope Ben Gibson and Ozan Kabak and Grant Hanley absolutely just clatter him when we play him. Personally, I'm a Norwich City fan, not a Ronaldo fan. Yeah,
I like that. Hello, mate. Thanks for the comment. I don't mind when people write us off because it means they're more salty when we beat them. Even just getting a draw at Arsenal will set them off. Yeah, I completely agree. And to be honest, Duka, we'll talk about the Arsenal game next week on the live stream. That's a real possibility of getting something there and kind of making a statement early on in the Premier League.
And because the turmoil that Arsenal in, I did mess with one of my mates this, and this, I may be very optimistic here, but the turmoil they're in, the way how they're playing, the absolute the state of that club, I'd be embarrassed if we lost to them.
Really?
I would be, yeah.
They've got Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, Pepe, 72 million.
We've got Jocky Sargent. We'll be all right. No, but I just think the absolute state of that club, yes, they've got quality players, but they've got a really poor manager. The absolute state of that club, players' heads aren't going to be on the pitch, are they, realistically? Yeah. So we've got to capitalise on that. And obviously, that's a bit too far saying I'd be embarrassed to lose at Arsenal, but we have to win that game. I see it as a relegation 6-pointer already.
Do you really think Arsenal could be
Yes,
in the bottom half of the table?
Absolutely. The turmoil that club is in. Yes, they've got quality players here and there, but we've seen
they've spent the most amount of money, I think, this transfer window. Some of the signings, like 30 million for Aaron Ramsdale. What on earth are you thinking there?
Then again, Villa spent 150 million a few seasons back and only just finished outside the relegation zone thanks to goal line technology not working. You can spend big and not do well. Yes, Arsenal do have quality players here and there, likes of Aubameyang. That's really as far as it goes. But yeah, I just don't. I really do see them struggling because of just the absolute state that club is in.
Yeah. Adam, well said, Ducker. I always think of Norwich in the Prem as like a dog on a beach. It's just happy to be there. Everything is a bonus. Let's enjoy the ride. I kind of agree with that, Adam. But also, let's go out there and say to everyone, we deserve to be in the Premier League. Let's go out there with the attitude of, rather than Stuart Webber saying we have 38 free hits, this time around going out and saying, we're Norwich, we're in a brilliantly financial position now. We've done so many incredible things off the pitch, and let's go out with the attitude of, of course we're happy to be in the Premier League, but actually going out and saying, we deserve to be in the Premier League, and we're going to have no fear.
Oh, exactly. I think this season it's not about enjoying the ride. It's about absolutely going out there and fighting for it, to prove our place in the Premier. Similar to how Webber recruits players. He recruits players with a point to prove. Now, Norwich City as a club, we've got a point to prove against all the people that have doubted us why we should be in the Premier League.
Yeah. You're going to be having popcorn watching Arsenal Fan TV.
Come over and give Robbie a little wave and maybe come on and say time to go.
Well, of course. A couple of years ago, you were on TV with Robbie, weren't you? In the famous, the viral East Anglian sandwich clip, mate.
What a quote that is! Hey, what a quote that is! I mean, it's now a North London sandwich, the Premier League. So, I might have to go say hello if we do win.
Yeah, of course. Took a couple of years back, you were on the Football Fan Show, and it was a Norwich versus Ipswich kind of debate with Alex Griffin, and unsurprisingly, and you absolutely put him to the floor, mate.
Yeah, no, I can remember him saying to me backstage before we went on, and he was like, "Have you been practicing for this?" And I was like, "No, mate, I'm just all for this." And he's like, "Well, I've practiced for this." I was like, "Well, I haven't. I don't know what I'm going to say yet." And it just rolled off the tongue. Got him to go first. Bit of a sneaky. I told him, "You go first, mate. You do yours first," because I know, once he gives me the fire, I'll give him the absolute. Just an absolute bomb back to him. And I did, and won.
Can you say the line again, Ducker? The famous line to finish the debate.
Well, wait. Was it Mind the Gap? Yeah, it's an East Anglia sandwich the championship table.
Mic drop, Barack Obama memes, all that jazz. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Legendary performance. Alex has never recovered.
I've seen him still put a few videos out about it. So I don't think he is quite over it yet. I mean, for me, that is one of the proudest moments of my life. Doing YouTube and the stuff. Getting the opportunity to do it, and then actually to take home the win as well, representing Norwich. It's fantastic. And
it's been brilliant as well. And kind of what Adam was saying as well, in terms of enjoying the ride, as Norwich fans, we're just kind of, the last few years, the last 10, 15 years, it's just been hilarious in a Norwich Ipswich side. The amount of wins we've had, of course, Ipswich's biggest achievement in 20 odd years was like, statistically, Ipswich's biggest achievement was losing to us in the playoff semi-final. I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible watching how well Norwich have been run and just the utter shit show in Ipswich. It's just been an absolute joy, mate.
It really has. And, no matter how bad we did in the Prem last time, where we just went down with a whimper, you look to yourself and like, Ipswich couldn't even get out of League One.
They're in the relegation zone at the moment of League One.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, says it all. Says it all, mate. And do you know what? We're always going to be a better club from now on. I don't see Ipswich ever coming up to our standards in my lifetime again.
Yeah.
Ever. I really don't. We're so well run.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for all your support in the live stream. We've probably had the most numbers and certainly the most interaction. So I want to thank everyone for all the comments. We're probably going to wrap it up in a moment. That was peak 18-19 stuff. What a fun ride that season was. Yeah, I mean, Norwich finishing top and Ipswich finishing bottom. I mean, you can't get better than that.
I can remember this guy. Oh yeah, he said I've got 3 stars on my shirt. How many have you got? Well, I don't need stars on my shirt, mate. We're top of the table at the time, and no, he did love the old history of Ipswich Town. Not that he was alive to see it, but yeah,
I'm sure the 1950s in Ipswich was a pleasant time, definitely. Yeah, I mean, thank you everyone for your support. And yeah, I want to finish with this comment here because I think it's so pivotal and it sums up the transfer window so well. Without Webber, we would still be 14th in the Championship, and I actually disagree with that. I don't think we'd be 14th in the Championship. Dare I say, I think we could even be looking at Norwich City being in a League One position.
wow.
We were close to administration. We had, Jez Moxey ruining the club, and Norwich City won an enormous wage bill. I really think it went under the radar just how bad Norwich were run. Everything we did, it was terrible. And Stuart Webber has come in 5 years' time. And okay, that Premier League season was disappointing. But in 5 years' time, we have watched some of the best football we've seen, me and you, Duka, in our lifetime. Certainly the best football Norwich have played since the 90s. And we're now in a position where Norwich City have got a real opportunity to be an established Premier League side and a club who are to be feared. And Norwich City, I mean, we've seen in the national media Norwich City having a lack of sporting integrity because they haven't spent 150 million like in previous seasons. Without Stuart Webber and without the brilliant work that he has done, Norwich City could quite easily be in Ipswich's position. If Stuart Webber was at Ipswich, the tables could have easily turned quite quickly. So I think that is such a pivotal comment, and this transfer window just probably is what Stuart Webber has peaked, hasn't he? And incredible from Stuart Webber and Norwich City over the last few years.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better.
Definitely. I think we're going to finish here, Dick. Right? I think this has been a really great stream, a lot of interaction. It's been a fun deadline day special. Rating the transfer window, is it a 10 out of 10 transfer window for you?
No, it's not. It's not a 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10.
No,
it's an 11 out of 10.
There we go.
It's an 11 out of 10. This window has been it's been our best window that we've ever seen as Norwich fans. If we don't give it if we give it anything less than a 10, we'd be lying to ourselves. It's been a fantastic transfer window from Norwich City, and obviously that's based on the signings. Now, if none of the signings perform, it could quickly go down to a 0 out of 10. But right now, 11 out of 10 for me. I can't fault it.
We've got some Aston Oxford fans in the chat there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think about it this way: he gets a bit of first team football on loan, and he comes back, and gets the England #1 shirt after a season. You got to think of the positives, mate. You got to think of the positives.
Yeah, thank you everyone for all the support on this live stream. Me and Duka have been speaking about doing this kind of Norwich City Central podcast and show for some time now. So it's great that we're kind of a few episodes in, and I've been really enjoying kind of all the interaction with it. So yeah, it's been great fun. Of course, we're going to be doing these streams Mondays, kind of 6:30. Typically the times might change, so what I would do is obviously turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a live stream and an upload. But yeah, thank you once again for all the Norwich chat. It's just great to kind of have a chin wag and chitter chatter about Norwich, mate.
Absolutely, I enjoy it. I keep saying to Lewis after every episode, I was like, I loved it, man. I really enjoyed it. I love it. And talking about Norwich City, just chatting absolute bollocks is just that's the dream. That is a dream.
It's fun, isn't it? And we just really enjoy talking about Norwich, and of course, you guys being in the stream enjoy the Norwich City discussion as well. So yeah, we really do appreciate it all. Thank you, Lord Beck, as well. Obviously, you guys are long-term supporters of the channel, so thank you. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be back Monday, 6:30, of course, previewing the Arsenal game. And yeah, it's just been an absolute joy. This transfer window and Norwich City as a whole. So we really appreciate all your support. Duka, any final comments, mate, before we finish?
If you want to go watch my match experience from Leicester, go. I think my link's in the description. Is it, Lewis?
Yes, we got your link in the description. Do you want to plug away, Duka?
I'll plug away. If you want to go subscribe, if you haven't already, my link is in the description. Go subscribe. We do similar content to what Lewis does. There is a match day experience out from Leicester, which did capture the scenes of the goal that Pookie did score and the goal that McLean it eventually didn't score in the carnage that was caused there. So if you want to go check it out, links in the description. Subscribe while you're over there. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos as well. And yeah, on to the next.
Yeah, definitely, and thank you for the donation as well. Really appreciate it. I honestly don't think you should be donating. I'm sure there's better causes, but we really appreciate it. And thank you for the donation, and thank you for all your support, Lord Beck. I've really appreciated it, and thank you everyone for all your comments and interaction. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll be back next week. So in the meantime, stay well, stay on the ball, and we'll see you later. See you later,
guys.